Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's take a look at some altcoins, starting with BTC, because alts need Bitcoin to be reasonably bullish. Ideally, Bitcoin leads everything, and then alts get a flourish of bullishness following. BTC has been in a little bit of a holding pattern, holding zone, maybe its own little descending, broadening wedge that we're seeing across the board here on things like Coinbase and Uranium and Ethereum. Just for whatever reason, everything's sort of coming together. Our old pal there, the yearly pivot at 122, for whatever reason, these yearly pivots at 80, at 122, they tend to be very, very, very important to the market. So that is the key level. From here to there, it's up to the individual what they like to make a decision, if at all. What is actionable here? I would love to see a bullish TK cross above the cloud, as always. That may take another 4 weeks. I don't know. I don't mind nibbling a little bit here on the BTC side. Even on mid caps, there's some things we'll talk about alts-wise that look okay. What I don't like extremely would be any random page 6 to 10,000 on CoinMarketCap coin, where that is, to me, effectively a lottery ticket. You can do great on lottery tickets. You can hit the jackpot. But if you're trying to do it in a systematic way, you need to have some technical evidence, at least for me, to actually pull the trigger on any of this stuff. And there's quite a few that do look set up and ready to go. So we'll take a look at that. So for BTC, 122 is the actual key level. Anything above 116 is great. Bullish TK cross is great. I think we have a bullish 1050 cross today, tomorrow, whatever that's coming up. We still have this cup and handle. There's still plenty of reasons to be bullish on the chart. I don't see any reason not to be. Fed's going to cut interest rates today. We'll see what they say about future meetings. We also have gold continuing to push into its measured move. Whether or not we see continuation here may be important to figure out when we'll see the Bitcoin move and subsequent alt moves. So far, this has gotten to the target quickly. You take the depth, you measure it higher, log, always for me, forever until the end of time. If you're curious on how we got here, there is not a bearish divergence here. We're not seeing a lower high in momentum despite making a higher high. We're not seeing a breach of the Williams fractal either. So for now, I'm sitting tight in gold. We'll see what happens today at the Fed meeting. But the goal for me personally is to swing from gold to IBIT calls, BITU, whatever. Some people are going to like other stuff. That's fine. But that's really what I'm honing in on here in my own book. Bitcoin dominance continues to just sort of peter out, which again, if you're pro altcoin, if you're pro rotation, this is exactly what you want to see. Continues to look bearish. Nothing new here. We've already seen really money move from Bitcoin to ETH. Great. We've seen money move on to Solana now. And as the cycle goes on towards the end, there's always the assumption that you're going to see further rotations down the risk curve, which is alt season, right? So we're definitely setting up for that based on dominance, which is led by ETH and SOL outperformance, at least in the near term. We may get a giant head and shoulders here. This may pop up to 60 and whatever, right? Okay, fine. But for now, this is certainly the most bearish dominance has looked in a long, long time. And if we look at total 2 over BTC, it's the same deal. The most bullish this has looked in a long, long time. This could morph into a mega inverted head and shoulders. We could see an extended cycle into 2028. Like, anything's possible, right? What are you willing to bet on today? Are you willing to bet on anything today? A lot of people listening to this video probably max long, God knows what, for years, right? And they've done poorly and their sentiment is awful. Who knows? Good things happen above the cloud. So for alts, this is what you want to see, whether you see a shoulder or not here. This is at a spot where you'd finally expect alts to durably outperform BTC for the remainder of the cycle. You know, if we look at this target just here, 115 to 161 maximum based on the measured move, for some of these alts, we're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5x, right? So that's where the outperformance comes from, not necessarily in market cap individually, but market cap on aggregate relative to BTC's market cap. It's going to take a lot more money to push BTC a lot higher. Total 2 itself on the cloud continues to just slowly drift up, driven by ETH and SOL here again. It doesn't look as bearish as I think ETH looks, at least on low time frames. Maybe you could argue a rising wedge here. Maybe you could argue there's not great risk reward here on total 2, but what I really like seeing is what we're seeing on the stablecoin side, just continuous printing, week over week, day over day. We're seeing 2 billion here, 2 billion there on Tether, on USDC, USDH, whatever, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Any of it's good. I don't care where it's going. I don't care who's minting it. I don't care if it's only being used in real world transactions. Don't care. More is better. More mints, the better. Number go up will eventually feed its way into alts at some point. So that's exactly what you want to see. It'd be a different story if M2 was down. Stablecoin prints were down, and we're here, right? And you could say, well, we don't really have the liquidity to support continuation. This is the exact opposite of that. We have tons of liquidity to support continuation. So this is not like 2017 or 2021 yet, at least at the end of the cycle, where we saw rates shifting in a different direction, liquidity shifting in a different direction. This is Tether versus USDC split out individually. Look at Tether. Just since the Circle IPO, just hilariously out minting USDC. So it looks great on that front. Looking at Total 2, Total 3, ETH, WGMI, and IWM collectively, this has kind of been the group sentiment-wise that has moved together. I still see people that are bullish coin. That's fine. I don't like the chart. It's not for me. I won't be throwing any money at it until it looks better to me. If you look at relative to the group, it's clearly not following, clearly underperforming since August. So if you're bullish coin, you have to be of the belief that this will snap back. These jaws will close with coin catching up at some point. Possible, but there's an awful lot that's working right now. So it doesn't quite make sense to me to just be stubborn and say, yeah, coin's going to move eventually. Hey, maybe. But there's a reason it's decoupled and hasn't done well. Similar to MSTR relative to everything, right? MSTR has seen a ton of bearish divergence relative to BTC. WGMI at the top there, really leading the pack on the AI HPC data center narrative. And if you look at ETHBTC, what do you think? Buy, sell, or hold? On the daily, it's had a great breakout, a great move, very clean, bearish move into bullish move. Up here, certainly less bullish, more head and shouldersy to me. This would need to break the right shoulder to negate this pattern. I can never see this on anything and think, oh man, this is so bullish. I don't care what the fundamentals are. I don't care what the ecosystem looks like. I don't care. The technicals here are telling me this does not look great. Does it have to break down at all? No, but it is not bullish, flat out. Technicals are not bullish here. This would first need to get above the right shoulder. Perfectly possible. And if it's bullish, we'll see it. But as it stands here, it's certainly less bullish than it was at any point from July throughout August. Just looks like it's intra-topped a little bit here. ETHBTC on the weekly also doesn't have a bullish TK cross yet. It's had a major move after the parabolic downside. It's done really well. Probably needs time to consolidate. In 2020, we saw a bullish TK cross with price in the cloud. Then it was super noisy to get through the cloud, but at the very least, prudent at this point to have a bullish TK cross. And you're going to get it. It's probably going to take 4 to 6 weeks, which is fine. Deeper into Q4, you'll see it. And maybe this whole thing is going to make a cup and handle. So if you're pro ETH, great. Hold, don't stop. Not financial advice. If you're actively trading this stuff, probably better to move around a little bit. That's just my opinion. Here's the descending broadening wedge on ETH. This still measures 8, 10, 11, whatever. Low time frames also kind of head and shouldersy here. Maybe it breaks down, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes nowhere, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't look like much of anything here to me that's screaming, oh man, this looks like a great 2x at the moment. Again, if this can get above the current local high, I like it a lot more. But for now, it just kind of looks ho-hum, right? So this might slowly gain some steam if and when BTC starts to break out and then do better thereafter. But this has been a heck of a move here from 1,500 to 4,500, right? Usually it takes some time to digest that move as people have been holding for a long time come in and start selling. Sol also looks okay. It's been a challenge here as far as picking out and pointing out, like, where's the trading decision? Where's the actionability here? It's been above the cloud for a while. It's been very, 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 very volatile for months. Finally pulled away over the past couple weeks. Now it's got a little bit of a TKC clamp there. So I don't see an immediate trade on Sol here either. Still has a little bit left in the tank as far as measured move. And that's all-time highs up there. So past that, it's price discovery. If you zoom out on the weekly, there's a cup and handle prospect where you could say, okay, maybe this goes to 1,000 or something silly, right? I don't know if you can trade on that today, right? I think you're gonna potentially get laughed by some other alts that just haven't moved, right? This has nothing to do with fundamentals. Absolutely nothing to do with what people are doing, what they're using. It has everything to do with how much money does it take to move Sol higher, who is selling, what are the flows, versus every other coin that has done nothing really for years at this point, but specifically since the beginning of the year. Sol BTC also nearing its target. Great breakout there. This was a lot cleaner to watch in action than the USD pair. Pretty clear neckline breach, held above the neckline the entire time, and away she went. This would favor rotation out of Sol and back to BTC, at least slowly, if you're not trading into other alts. Same thing with Sol ETH. Sol ETH still favors Sol as it's transitioning into the daily cloud here. And unlike ETH BTC, this does have a bullish decay cross with edge to edge. So between BTC, ETH, and Sol, at this point, I like the setup more on BTC, at least in the next 4 weeks, let's say. Beyond that, I like Sol and then ETH. But even now, the question is, okay, BTC versus what? Because there are a lot of coins that are setting up against even BTC, setting up against USD. And I just wanted to highlight Lyft, not because it's up 25% today or whatever it is, but because you're seeing a lot of this structure on alts right now. This is a multi-year pattern that's breaking up. If we go to KWeb, same deal. If we go to CQQQ, same deal. It's less about individually what it is, more about how has it consolidated relative to everything else. You know, this has underperformed America effectively for years, right? And now money is being rotated into China from the US, from QQQ, from wherever. Is that a good thing, bad thing, amazing thing? I don't know, right? Doesn't matter. And the same can be said for alts, where some of these have been setting up for quite some time, and we are waiting for the move, because the XRP never broke down there. But looking at this range on Ripple relative to a lot of these other coins, Ripple has held the highs, which is great, but what's the next trade, right? There was the head and shoulders that didn't continue to break down. Great. Can we discuss this as a giant cup and handle? Don't hate the idea. And it's really as far as I take it with any chart. Don't force it. What does it look like? You know, what does the Rorschach test tell you? Any shapes you can recognize? Anything interesting here? Maybe a falling wedge here. Above the cloud is great. Higher highs are great. Where's the actionability? Probably 335. I think it pays to wait because the upside targets are 100% from 335, right? So you have to make that decision for yourself. But if I'm looking at levels, I'm always looking for horizontals. I'm always looking for obvious in-your-face things. You can just say, okay, you know, like the Lyft example, there was a pretty clear horizontal. If Ripple can make it above 335, 340, yeah, you know, so I'd set alerts, 331, and that's it. Next chart, right? I don't take it any further than that. But is this a today trade? No, I don't think it's a today trade. Like, again, you could be right and say, okay, this is going to 6 from here, and you'll feel really good about it. But if it doesn't, then what? Where's your stop loss? Your stop loss is probably a lower low. I wouldn't apply Williams fractals to this just yet. It hasn't started to break out. It's still consolidating. So you always want to see higher highs. You always want to see obvious and logical levels get broken to the upside. Say is kind of done nothing. Just continues to chop, continues to consolidate. I don't really have anything specific on this one. And if it's in the too hard pile, if it's in the doing nothing pile, okay, next chart, right? There's nothing else to say. Sorry. H-bar kind of in the same deal, just consolidating. It'll look better at highs, but in the moment, is there anything to do? I don't think so. Curve, kind of a falling wedge situation still. This is probably one to continue to watch on alerts. If we bump out the support resist a little bit, we can say, okay, if we get back to 80, maybe we will be in a better spot. Not above the cloud yet, but something to think about just on the wedge part. And that would measure up here. And that's it. I don't care about it until it breaks the alert, until it's above the cloud, etc. Just nothing to do. LTC has also done a lot of nothing here for a long time. And I've been saying this for months. If you like LTC, you want it to go to 250, 350. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of everyone's time just because it's been consolidating for so long. But it looks okay here. So again, I like highs. I like momentum. I like being not the first person on the plane, but being on the plane when it's ready to take off. I don't think there's any reason to sit in this stuff if it doesn't look good to you today. Link has since hit its targets, similar to ETH, kind of looking weak-ish. Maybe you get some sort of cup and handle thing here. But again, what do you want to see? Higher highs. What do you want to see? Breaking resistance. We don't have that yet. I just don't have anything else to say. Don't have anything else to do. That's that. Next chart. Algo. Not really doing much of anything again below the cloud. A lot of this like falling wedge stuff, falling channel stuff, just to consider and think about from an actionability standpoint. Where would you want to get into position on this? 26, 27. We set some alerts, see what happens. But again, nothing to do today. ENA very much firmly in the profit area from the breakout. Nothing to do there. An early DBW breakout from July. But what is there to do? I don't see anything. Again, you're going to see people argue kind of this like cup and handle idea. Sure, I like higher highs. Until then, nothing to do. ETC is a waste of time. BNB at all-time highs. I don't really see many people talking about this or trading this ever. So it just kind of is what it is. But it does have a measured move yet to go in it. I don't think most people care about BNB, to be honest. Aave still has a mega ascending triangle cup and handle thing that could see a breakout. Where's the actionability? For me, again, it's always at the highs, at the higher highs with momentum. I don't want to sit here in a range. I don't care. It's a piece of furniture, right? It means nothing. It doesn't do anything. That's technicals for you. So at 3, I have an alert there already, at 333, at 334, at 350, whatever. I like it a lot more. Here, nothing. But it's setting up. It is setting up. Hype continues to slowly snake its way higher. If you think this is going to 2000, that's fundamentals. That's not exactly technicals, and that's fine. I just don't see anything in the near term that's screaming at me, this looks like a great setup or a great trade. I just don't see it. That's all. You're not going to like what I have to say about everything, and I assume anybody who's long hype is not going to like what I have to say about this chart. There's nothing like inspiring me setup-wise. AMAX has broken out, and this is what you want to see right here. This is where I like every single chart to get long. Right there, boom, boom, boom. I don't like it any time before then. This waited and waited and waited. It took a long time to break out. I like nibbling if you're pretty sure, as it's making higher highs. Just like the GLD example, right? Like, I was sitting in GLD, nibbling back here for a little bit, a few weeks, and then adding as it was starting to break out, adding more at the breakout. That makes a lot more sense to me than just like blindly holding this stuff, hoping it's going to go up. But that's just me. So AVAX still looks tradable, actionable, better than anything else really we've looked at so far, just because it's in an active breakout. ADA kind of just sitting there, really nothing to say here. You don't really want to see this dip all the way back to the breakout again for like the third time. Historically, this has been a challenging coin because it is super volatile, doesn't really move necessarily how you'd expect. ARB also has this ETH fractal with this kind of head and shoulders idea. It's tough because it looked good. It's set up nicely. It made a series of higher highs. You just don't want to see it breaking down here. Never got to the target. Didn't quite hold the breakout level. Just kind of messy, right? This is always the risk. Is that okay? This looks good for really weeks and then just goes nowhere. Maybe that's just an ETH beta idea. IMX up today. Couldn't tell you why. Couldn't tell you what this coin does, really. All I know is I like the setup. I like the breakout. Similar to the lift example, if the pattern is consolidated for months on an altcoin, that's huge. If it's above the cloud on the daily, breaking resistance, good things happen randomly, right? I don't know. I don't know why this today versus something else. Same thing with Wormhole. Wormhole had some news about that stuff, but same deal. Down for a while, consolidated for months. I like highs. That's it. I like this better than ETH. I like it better than Sol. I like it better than BTC. I'm not going to size it the same as BTC, ETH, or Sol, but as a today trade, as an actionable today trade, love it. IMX, same deal. AVAX, same deal. Near sort of getting there. It's ready. It's on the launch pad, potentially for a breakout. And I like trading these a lot more than BTC, ETH, or Sol for the week. Medic breaking out, pulling back. Just kind of is what it is. Ho-hum still looks fine. Still looks okay. DYDX, same deal. Some of these, if you picked 10 of these equally sized, maybe 8 of them don't go anywhere or break lows. Maybe 2 or 3 of them, you get a 5x or whatever, right? That's how it pays for the rest of them. But all these look like they're setting up pretty decently. The deeper we go down this list, less so. GRT, less so. Ondo still waiting for the breakout there at 110 probably. INJ are still waiting. Sui still waiting. Not quite breaking out yet. Ton, you're still waiting. Apt still waiting. So there's like actively breaking out at the launchpad, and then there is the ultra laggards. We'll just add another. We'll say breakout. So that's how I would delineate it. And the rest of these really nothing. Filecoin, maybe Dot. We could probably put up here. Dot looking pretty decent on the daily. Aptos, Filecoin, Flow probably higher in the laggards group. It's trying. ICP, VLOW. Yeah, the rest of these just not quite ready. Tia. How's Tia look on the cloud? Yeah, still below the cloud there. And before I get crucified in the comments, let's take a look at this one. Pump. Somebody asked me about this a few weeks ago. I said it looked great. It's not for me. It's done very, very well since then. It has reached the measured move based on the pattern. And up here, it looks more like a head and shoulders to me. So that's what it's all about. Buying low and selling high, or buying high and selling higher. So up here makes a lot less sense than whatever it was at the W breakout. So collectively, there's a select few. There's what, 8 to 10 here that are actively breaking out. A lot of the coins that have done well for the past couple months are still consolidating. And ultimately, everything's just waiting on BTC to see what it's going to do. That's all I have for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.